why do we have to wait until sometimes towards elections, then we start running like headless chickens, trying to do mass voter registration.
Welcome to Havana Media. My name is Celestine Wandia. Today we will be talking how the IEBC has a new chairperson nominee, Erastus Edung Ethekon, who is succeeding the long-time Wafula Chebukati. This appointment was made by President William Ruto. Remember last year when people were saying that Ruto should basically elect or nominate a new chairperson for the IEBC, and he seemed reluctant to do so. What are your thoughts on the now elected IEBC chairperson? Why do you think that the president basically elected him at this time, or rather nominated?
Thank you, Mr. Mohati. I think this issue has also been disturbing my mind whenever I try to interrogate our electoral processes and wonder why do we have to wait until sometimes towards elections, then we start running like headless chickens, trying to do mass voter registration. And yet, the commission over time has set in place structures, has put in place staff that can actually continue on a normal, regular basis to register voters and to clear it. So for me, I think my understanding at the moment is that the law, as it is, arising from the constitutional provision that makes IEBC a corporate entity, that corporate entity now makes it, in terms of decision making, it is the commission constituted as a board that makes some of those decisions, and including looking at the voter registration arrangements and okaying it. And if you look at the Elections Act, most decisions originate by way of gazette. Presidential election or vacancy has been declared, the chairman will gazette. Voter registration, chairman will gazette. Voter education. So for me, we need to look at the law as it is and to ask ourselves, does it serve public interest to continue doing things this way, or public interest will better be served if we decentralize some of these things, so that then all that is needed is some kind of delegation of responsibility to the secretariat to run with it. So for me, it's also a vexing question to me. But as a new chair with my commissioners, we will look at this and then make proposals, working with political parties and other stakeholders, to see whether there's a case for law reform. For me, I think that's how I would look at it.
Ethekon has several law degrees and has also over 20 years of experience in law and public administration. He has worked as a consultant and served as Turkana County Attorney back in 2018 to 2024. His background also includes roles at the UNDP. Academically, Ethekon holds multiple degrees in law and related fields. At 48, he assured the vetting panel of his capacity to lead. Do you think he will be capable on taking on this role? President Ruto nominated Ethekon following a process by the IEBC selection panel. The nomination now goes to the National Assembly for approval. Also, he nominated 6 others IEBC commissioner, who include Angerin Derito, Moses Alutalala, Mary Karen, Hassan Nur, and Ahima Abdallah. A key point is Ethekon's connection to Ruto. As Turkana County Attorney, he worked under Governor Josephat Nanok back in 2018 to 2024. Nanok is a long-time Ruto ally, his presidential campaign director general, and currently deputy chief of staff. So some people have something to say about this. Some are saying that this link is what led to Ethekon getting the job. He is also being called a State House associate. raising concerns about whether the IEBC is actually independent. The nomination has sparked debate, with the opposition citing a lack of consultation. Public surveys also showed other preferred candidates. Ethekon has pledged to uphold integrity. In conclusion, Ethekon's nomination is significant. His experience is notable. He is learned. But his connection to Ruto raises questions about the IEBC's independence. The focus will be on the IEBC's ability to conduct fair elections and regain public trust. People are not literally buying into him being nominated as chairperson. Some are saying that this is a larger scheme for president in order for him to secure his 2027 votes. What are your thoughts on that? Write down below in the comments and let us know. Also, in a surprising turn of events, Professor Bitange Demo, a prominent Kenyan figure, has rejected his appointment as the Vice Chancellor of University of Nairobi. Frankly speaking, I'm shocked as you are. This is the first time I'm hearing of someone turning down a position in Kenya, especially a position of power. This unexpected decision has sparked debate about university's leadership and the appointment process. Professor Bitange Demo is currently Kenyan ambassador to Belgium and European Union. The University Council announced Professor Demo's appointment on May 2nd, 2025. He was the top candidate after a Public Service Commission recruitment process. Also, due to his ongoing diplomatic duties, Professor Francis Mula was named as acting VC for 6 months. This was meant to ensure a smooth transition for Demo. Just days later, Professor Demo declined the position. He cited concerns about the procedural integrity of the appointment process. That's a first. Specifically, he pointed to the lack of confirmed concurrence from the Cabinet Secretary of Education. Despite assurances from the University Council, Demo felt the proper legal steps weren't followed and withdrew his candidacy. Most people in Kenya, when they are offered a position in power, whether it follows the required procedures or whether it doesn't, as long as they got the position, they don't care whether procedures were followed or anything. But this professor saying that he basically isn't going to take the position because the process required to be taken wasn't taken. He was met with varied reactions. Dennis Itumbi from the President Office publicly supported his stance on due process. Students had initially welcomed the appointment, hoping for leadership stability. This rejection now adds to existing concerns about the university's leadership. With Professor Demo's withdrawal, the University of Nairobi is again without a permanent vice-chancellor. Professor Francis Mula remains as acting VC. The University Council and the Ministry of Education will need to decide on the next steps, which could involve revisiting the shortlist or starting a new recruitment process. This situation highlights the governance challenges within public education universities, since Nairobi University has been having problems for quite some time now. People were hoping that Bitange will bring in the change that was needed, but then he goes ahead because procedures weren't followed to say, I reject this. I do not stand with this. Procedures were not followed, and therefore I'm not going to take the job. Professor Bitange's demo rejection of the University of Nairobi top job due to procedural concerns underscores the critical importance of proper governance in higher education. As the university seeks a new leader, ensuring a transparent and legally sound appointment process will be crucial for its future stability and reputation. Since it's a reputable university, it should follow the guidelines, the process required in order to bring in a new vice-chancellor. You would think so. What are your thoughts on this development? Tell us what you think in the comments below. I have been your host, Celestine Wandia.